As I stood on the sun-drenched shore of the Spanish coast, the waves gently lapping at the sand, I told myself to savor this moment. The scene was idyllic: endless blue sea, a clear sky, and rolling hills dotted with quaint villages. Yet inside, I felt as though I was teetering on the brink of a major change. David, my husband, was engrossed in yet another work call, despite our promise to use this time to relax. A budding chef, I had put my career on hold to support him as the devoted wife. But increasingly, I felt like I was losing myself. During a dinner under the fading sunlight, I decided to voice my thoughts. David, I think it's time for me to get back to my passion for cooking, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. My words seemed to shock him, and for a moment, I saw a flicker of anger in his eyes. Emma, we have a stable life, and you want to throw it away just to pursue some whimsical dream? David replied, his tone sharper than any knife I'd ever held. The argument spiraled quickly. My heart pounded, not just from his words, but from a sense of frustration and a yearning for freedom that was mounting within me. The next morning, I awoke to find that David and his friends had planned a little excursion without telling me. They invited me along, but the tension between us was unmistakable. David's words echoed in my mind as I stepped out of the room. It's just a fun little trip, Emma. But as the car sped off, leaving me on the narrow street, I knew something was amiss. Their laughter echoed in the air, and I stood there feeling like a stranger in a foreign land. My heart raced, and I wondered, how do I get out of this situation? In that moment, I realized this was my chance to rediscover myself, to find out who I was beyond being a wife. A mix of apprehension and determination surged through me, and I knew I had to move forward, even if it meant leaving everything I once knew behind. As the dust settled from the car that had just sped away, leaving me stranded on the cobblestone streets of this quaint Spanish town, a chill ran down my spine despite the warm sunlight. I was alone, truly alone. My mind raced back to the argument with David the night before, his dismissive tone still ringing in my ears. Whimsical dream, he had called my passion. But now, standing there with nothing but my purse and the clothes on my back, I felt an unfamiliar blend of fear and exhilaration. The narrow streets seemed to close in around me, each turn revealing unfamiliar faces that glanced my way with mild curiosity. I clutched my purse tighter, the realization dawning that my phone was useless: no signal, no calls for help. My heart pounded as I rifled through the contents. A handful of euros, my ID, but no credit cards, as David had insisted on holding them for safety. Panic threatened to overtake me, but I forced myself to breathe, focusing on the task at hand. I needed a plan. The nearest bus station seemed like a logical first step, a place where I could gather my thoughts and decide my next move. With each step, the clack of my shoes on the cobblestones echoed my growing determination. Inside the small, bustling station, the air was thick with the scent of diesel and the chatter of travelers. I approached the ticket counter, my voice barely above a whisper, asking for the soonest bus out of town. The attendant, a kind-eyed man with a sympathetic smile, informed me that the next bus to a larger city would depart in 2 hours. It wasn't ideal, but it was a start. While I waited, I found a small cafe tucked into the corner of the station. The aroma of coffee was comforting, a small reminder of normalcy amidst the chaos swirling in my mind. Settling into a corner seat, I ordered a café con leche, watching the steam rise in delicate swirls. As I sipped, I felt the caffeine in my senses, sharpening my focus. Around me, the world moved on, travelers rushing to and fro, oblivious to the turmoil within me. But in that solitude, I found a strange sense of peace, a quiet space where the possibilities of what lay ahead began to unfold. I could return to the life I knew, the comfort and security of the familiar. Or I could step into the unknown, guided only by the flicker of something I'd nearly forgotten: hope. The minutes ticked by, each passing second bringing me closer to a decision. My mind raced with the logistics of it all. Where would I go? What would I do? But beneath the practical concerns was the undeniable thrill of starting anew, of breaking free from the constraints that had bound me. As the announcement for my bus crackled over the station's PA system, I felt a surge of adrenaline. This was it the moment to choose my path. Standing, I left a few euros on the table for my coffee and gathered my things. With each step toward the bus, the fear and doubt that had shadowed me began to ebb away. In their place blossomed a growing resolve. Whatever lay ahead, I would face it head on. Alone, perhaps, but with a newfound strength that David's betrayal had inadvertently awakened. I boarded the bus, finding a window seat and watching as the town faded into the distance. My heart pounded with each mile, but I was ready to embrace the unknown and whatever adventures it might hold. As the bus rolled away from the station, the rhythmic hum of the engine was a soothing balm to my frayed nerves. The Spanish countryside unfolded like a vibrant tapestry outside my window, each passing field and cluster of olive trees a reminder of the vastness of the world beyond the narrow confines of my former life. With each mile, the weight of David's betrayal seemed to lift, replaced by a tingling anticipation of the unknown. The journey was both exhilarating and daunting. I had no concrete plan, just a nebulous idea that somewhere between the hills and the sea, I might find a place that felt like mine. My destination was a small village I'd overheard mentioned in the cafe, a place renowned for its culinary traditions. It seemed as good a place as any to start anew, to rekindle the passion I'd once felt in the kitchen before life had steered me off course. Arriving in the village was like stepping into another world. The air was heavy with the scent of rosemary and sea salt, and the narrow streets buzzed with a vibrant energy. I felt a thrill of excitement mixed with nerves, wondering how I would fit into this tightly knit community. I wandered the cobbled lanes until I stumbled upon a small, charming restaurant with faded blue shutters and a hand-painted sign that read La Cocina de Ana. Something about the place spoke to me, a whisper of home in a foreign land. Gathering my courage, I pushed open the door, greeted by the warm aroma of garlic and baking bread. Inside the restaurant was a hive of activity. A woman with salt and pepper hair and a flour-dusted apron moved with practiced grace between the kitchen and the tables, a serene smile on her face. Our eyes met, and she approached with a curious, welcoming expression. "Hola," she greeted, her voice melodic and warm. "Can I help you?" I hesitated, the reality of my situation crashing over me. I was wondering if you might need any help. I'm a chef, or at least I used to be," I stammered, feeling suddenly exposed. Anna studied me for a moment, her gaze penetrating but kind. "We could always use an extra pair of hands. Come," she beckoned, leading me into the bustling kitchen. The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. I chopped vegetables, stirred pots, and plated dishes under Anna's watchful eye, feeling the old rhythm of the kitchen return to me. There was a comfort in the familiar motions, a sense of purpose that had been missing for too long. As the evening rush subsided, Anna handed me a glass of wine, her smile warm and approving. "You did well," she said simply. "Stay as long as you need. We have a spare room upstairs." Her offer was unexpected, yet it felt like the lifeline I desperately needed. I accepted with gratitude, my heart swelling with a mix of relief and hope. This small restaurant, with its lively kitchen and generous proprietor, promised a fresh start, a place where I could rebuild and rediscover the parts of myself that had been lost. That night, as I lay in the cozy room above the restaurant, listening to the distant sound of waves crashing against the shore, I felt a profound sense of peace. This village, this kitchen, held the promise of renewal, and for the first time in a long while, I was ready to embrace whatever came next. Settling into the rhythm of life at La Cocina de Ana was like rediscovering a forgotten melody, each note both familiar and thrillingly new. The days began early, with the sun barely cresting over the horizon as I joined Anna in the kitchen. We worked side by side, our movements becoming increasingly synchronized as I learned the nuances of her culinary art. Anna's cooking was guided by intuition and tradition rather than recipes. She taught me to trust my senses, the scent of garlic sizzling in olive oil, the vibrant color of ripe tomatoes, the satisfying crackle of bread fresh from the oven. Her kitchen was a sanctuary, a place where creativity flowed as freely as the wine we served to our patrons. The village embraced me with a warmth I hadn't anticipated. Each morning, I visited the bustling market, where vendors greeted me with smiles and the kind of familiarity that turned strangers into friends. The market was a sensory feast, filled with the chatter of bargaining voices, the vibrant hues of fresh produce, and the enticing aromas of spices and herbs. It was there I met Carlos, a local fisherman with a sun-weathered face and a kind disposition. He supplied the restaurant with the freshest catch, and over time, our exchanges grew from simple transactions to lively conversations about the sea and life in the village. His stories of the ocean were captivating, painting pictures of distant horizons and the mysteries that lay beneath the waves. Carlos, like Anna, was part of the tight-knit community that formed around me, offering support and a sense of belonging. I found myself woven into the fabric of village life, each interaction strengthening the threads that connected me to this new world. But it was in the kitchen where I truly came alive. Anna encouraged me to experiment, to infuse the traditional dishes with my own flair. I introduced new ingredients, blending them with local flavors to create something uniquely ours. The patrons responded with enthusiasm, and word of our evolving menu spread quickly through the village and beyond. One evening, as I stood at the stove stirring a pot of rich, aromatic stew, Anna approached with a thoughtful expression. "You've brought something special to this place, Emma," she said, her eyes warm with pride. "The people love what you do here. I think it's time you share your story with them." Her words resonated deeply. For so long, I had hidden away, afraid to reveal the vulnerability of my journey. But the time had come to open up, to let the people who had welcomed me into their lives see the path that had brought me here. The opportunity arose during a village festival, a celebration of the harvest where local chefs showcased their talents. Anna and I prepared a feast, each dish a testament to the collaboration of our skills and the fusion of our culinary styles. As the evening unfolded, I shared my story with the gathered crowd, speaking of the challenges and triumphs that had shaped my journey. The response was overwhelming. The villagers embraced me not just as a chef, but as a friend and a fellow traveler on the road to self-discovery. In that moment, I realized that I had found more than just a place to rebuild my career. I had found a community, a home where my passion for cooking could flourish alongside the friendships that had become as essential to my life as the ingredients in my kitchen. The festival was a triumph, and as the last notes of music faded into the night, I felt a profound sense of belonging. But beneath the surface of my newfound happiness, there was a lingering shadow I knew I had to confront. The life I had left behind was still unresolved, a loose end that needed tying up if I were to fully embrace my future. It was a week after the festival when the past came knocking in the form of a letter, postmarked from back home. Seeing David's familiar handwriting sent a shiver down my spine, a reminder of the world I had once been a part of. The envelope felt heavy in my hands as I sat at the small wooden table in my room, the afternoon light casting long shadows across the floor. With a deep breath, I opened it, my heart pounding with a mixture of dread and curiosity. The letter was a plea, a carefully crafted narrative of regret and longing. David wrote of the emptiness he felt without me, of the life we had built together and how he wished to rekindle it. He spoke of the love we once shared, painting a picture of what could be if I returned. For a moment, his words stirred memories of our early days filled with laughter and dreams. But as I read on, the underlying tone of control and expectation became clear. It wasn't just about love. It was about his need to restore the life he knew, the life where I played a supporting role in his story. The realization was like a bolt of lightning, illuminating the truth I had been too close to see before. The life I had with David was one of comfort and security, yes, but also one where I had gradually faded into the background, my own dreams eclipsed by his ambitions. That evening, I took a walk along the shore, the rhythmic crash of waves mirroring the storm within me. I needed clarity, a way to articulate the tangled emotions that the letter had stirred. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and violet, the answer came to me with the certainty of the tides. Returning to the restaurant, I found Anna in the kitchen, her hands busy kneading dough, her presence as grounding as ever. She listened quietly as I shared the contents of the letter, her eyes reflecting understanding and support. "What do you want, Emma?" she asked gently, her question cutting through the confusion like a knife through butter. "I want to stay," I replied, the words falling from my lips with a conviction that surprised even me. "I've built something here, something real and meaningful. I can't go back to being a shadow of myself." The decision made, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders, replaced by a sense of liberation. I penned a response to David that night, thanking him for the good times but explaining that I had chosen a different path, one that allowed me to be fully alive and true to myself. As I sealed the envelope, I knew there was no turning back. The life I had found in this village, the friendships, the kitchen filled with laughter and creativities were the things that nourished my soul. And for the first time, I felt not just like a visitor in my own life, but the author of my own story, ready to embrace whatever the next chapter might bring. Sealing the envelope to David felt like closing the door on a chapter of my life that had once defined me but could no longer contain the person I'd become. With that letter sent, I turned my focus entirely toward the future that awaited me here, in the heart of this enchanting village by the sea. The morning after I posted the letter, I awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. The sunlight streamed through the windows, casting a gentle glow on the simple furnishings of my room. I dressed quickly, eager to embrace the day's challenges and joys. The kitchen was already alive with the comforting sounds of breakfast preparations when I arrived downstairs. Anna greeted me with a warm smile, her eyes sparkling with a shared understanding of the journey I was on. Today, we were preparing for a special event, a celebration of the season's harvest, bringing together locals and visitors alike to share in the bounty of the land. The restaurant hummed with activity, the air fragrant with the scent of fresh herbs and sizzling meat. As I moved through the familiar dance of chopping and stirring, I felt an undercurrent of excitement that went beyond the culinary tasks at hand. Carlos arrived mid-morning, his arms laden with baskets of freshly caught seafood. He winked as he passed, a gesture that had become our unspoken language of camaraderie and mutual respect. We worked side by side, our hands moving swiftly to prepare the feast that would soon fill the tables and delight our guests. As the afternoon sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets, the first guests arrived. There was a palpable energy in the air, a sense of community and celebration that was both exhilarating and humbling. The restaurant filled quickly, the buzz of conversation and laughter creating a symphony of life and connection. Throughout the evening, I moved between the kitchen and the dining area, sharing stories with guests, explaining the inspiration behind each dish. The response was overwhelmingly positive, the appreciation for our efforts evident in every satisfied smile and word of praise. As the night wore on, I found a moment to step outside, the cool evening air a welcome relief from the warmth of the bustling kitchen. I gazed up at the stars, their brilliance unspoiled by city lights, and took a deep breath, savoring the peace that settled over me. In that quiet moment, I understood that I had found something truly precious here in life, filled with purpose, creativity, and genuine connections. The journey had been unexpected, shaped by choices and challenges that had tested my resilience and resolve. But standing there, beneath the vast, starlit sky, I knew I had chosen well. I was home. With the harvest celebration behind us, life in the village settled back into its familiar rhythms. Yet I found myself filled with a quiet anticipation, eager to explore what lay ahead now that I had truly embraced this new chapter. The decision to stay, cemented beneath the stars, had unlocked a world of possibility, a future crafted by my own hands. The morning after the festival, I joined Anna in the kitchen, the warmth of our friendship as comforting as the scent of fresh bread baking in the oven. We spoke of the success of the event, our conversation punctuated by laughter and plans for the future. The restaurant was thriving, and with it, my confidence bloomed. As I moved through the village later that day, each step along the cobblestone paths felt deliberate, grounded in the knowledge that I belonged. The villagers greeted me with smiles and waves, their acceptance a testament to the connections I had forged. With each interaction, I felt an unspoken bond, a sense of community that filled me with gratitude. That afternoon, Carlos invited me to join him on his fishing boat, a chance to experience firsthand the source of the day's freshest ingredients. As the boat cut through the azure waters, the sun casting diamonds across the waves, a thrill of adventure coursed through me. I watched as Carlos skillfully navigated the nets, his movements a dance of expertise and intuition honed by years at sea. The tranquility of the open water offered a moment of reflection, a chance to marvel at the journey that had brought me here. From the pain of abandonment to the discovery of my own resilience, every step had led to this place of peace and purpose. The salt-laden breeze carried with it a whisper of the future, a promise of adventures yet to come. Returning to shore with our bounty, I felt a deeper connection to the land and sea, the very essence of what sustained our village. As we unloaded the catch, Carlos spoke of plans to expand our offerings, to introduce new dishes that celebrated the richness of our local harvest. His enthusiasm was infectious, and together, we envisioned a future where our restaurant would draw visitors from far and wide, each meal a testament to our shared passion. That evening, as I stood at the kitchen stove, the familiar rhythm of cooking enveloped me in its comforting embrace. The village, with its vibrant soul and enduring traditions, had become more than just a place to live. It was a canvas for my dreams, a sanctuary where I could continue to grow and thrive. As the last of the day's light faded, I knew that my story was far from over. This village, with its cobblestone streets and open-hearted people, was not just a setting but a character in my life's narrative, one that I would continue to explore with curiosity and gratitude. Here, beneath the wide, welcoming sky, I had found my home. The story of a woman stranded and then thriving in a foreign village is a testament to resilience and self-discovery. It offers valuable lessons for modern life. First, embrace uncertainty as an opportunity for growth. When faced with unexpected challenges, view them as chances to explore new paths and cultivate hidden strengths. Second, find strength in community. Building genuine connections can provide the support and encouragement needed to navigate life's transitions. Engaging with others who share your values can lead to collaborative growth and mutual support. Lastly, prioritize self-discovery and independence. Pursuing personal passions and interests not only enriches your life but also reinforces your sense of identity and purpose. By valuing your own journey and making choices that align with your true self, you can create a fulfilling life, no matter where you find yourself.